Hi. Oh, that was weird. We had a quite a double sign there. Sorry about that. But welcome everybody to our Insider's Guide to AWS ANZ Summit. My name is Derek Bingham. I am a developer advocate at AWS, and I'm joined by the marvelous Peter Hansons. Peter, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thanks for having me, Derek. So I'm a solutions architect and data engineer. I have my own little company called Cloud Shuttle. It's a community-focused cloud consultancy. I've been doing cloud for about 6 or 7 years, and I've come from a data analytics background, and so slowly learned the ropes. And yeah, I've been to 4 summits so far, and really enjoyed them. I remember the good old days of the Horden Pavilion. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, probably one of my favorite summit highlights, Derek, is when I met the founders of A Cloud Guru. At the time, I was doing a whole lot of their courses and
Cool.
stuff like that, and yeah, managed to sort of meet them in person, and it was really quite fortuitous because I ended up getting a job out of it. So it was really cool. So
As you
summit
do.
summits can be pretty awesome things to get along to. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, so a cloud guru, I believe they're from Perth, which where I currently am, sitting here in Perth. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a developer advocate at AWS. I've been at AWS for a number of years now, and like yourself, Peter, I think this is my fourth summit, and every summit is different. This is no different than that, as it will be different again. And today's show will take you through how it will be different and things to watch out for, things to see, and not to miss as well. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But first of all, we just want to acknowledge that without the AWS community itself, there would be no summit. So what we're going to do is we're going to as a way of engaging everybody on the show, we're going to ask a bit of a quiz. So the prize for the quiz, this first quiz question, which Peter's going to ask in a minute, is we're giving away 100 USD AWS credits. So the first quiz question is all yours, Peter. Do you want to ask the audience the question?
Thanks, Derek. So the question is: so we've got a whole bunch of AWS heroes worldwide, but how many are there, in fact, here in Australia and New Zealand? So how many AWS heroes do we have in Australia and New Zealand? First answer gets that $100 USD AWS credits, not Amazon credits. This variety gets you uh,
Yeah.
cool cloud computing credits.
Yes, build stuff. It allows you to build stuff. So credits to build stuff, and that's what we do, Peter. So yeah, everybody out there can have a crack at building stuff on AWS. So please post your answers in Twitch. If apologies to those who are listening in Twitter, we can't get the answer from you, but on Twitch, just post your answers there. So the first section of the show, we're actually going to talk about the AWS community. So Summit wouldn't be Summit without the community we have in Australia and New Zealand, who turn out every year to hear about the latest and greatest AWS tech, and to also, yeah, a big piece of Summit is obviously networking with peers, and a large part of that community is our fantastic AWS heroes, of which Peter is one. So we're just going to start the show with a bit of an introduction to who the heroes are and explain the program, because they're such a massive part of the AWS community. There's no summit goes by where we can't say thanks to our heroes. So Peter, do you want to give people out there a quick overview of the heroes and who they are?
Yeah, so the Heroes program is really all about recognizing and honoring the most engaged and influential folks, developers who have had significant impact within the community. It provides heroes a place to tell their story and connect with like-minded individuals and developers. And it's all about, really just, you know, that recognition of some really awesome community work. So, and I'm truly honored to be part of the program.
Cool. And the next, shall we introduce our heroes that we have in Australia and New Zealand? This is a spoiler alert for the quiz. So we're giving you the answer. So hopefully somebody's already answered the question on chat, and we'll reach out in a bit to acknowledge that. Okay, Peter.
Cool. So we've got from where you're from, Derek, Zaina Belecki. She is the latest addition to the Hero program, all the way from Perth. There's a few different flavors of AWS Heroes. Zainab is a community hero, which is like peak hero. She's done some fabulous work there in Perth in the DevOps community and doing some really cool stuff in the She Builds program and to encourage diversity in tech, which is just amazing. So it's really awesome to have her a part of the program now. We've also got Nathan. He is also from Perth. He's an IoT hero. So I think he's just started a new role doing all sorts of awesome robotics, space exploration
Nice.
stuff. Just blows my mind. I'm just like, wow, that's the coolest job ever. Hailing from New Zealand, all the way from Wellington, which is such a cool hip city, actually, is Helen Anderson. She's quite a prolific blogger in the data and analytics space, and she's obviously a data hero. So it's really great to have her part of the program. Her claim to fame is she's the one and only New Zealand AWS hero. So we're hoping, we
More,
can.
please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
help out, I reckon. Mike Chambers, he's a machine learning hero. He does a whole bunch of really cool courses in the machine learning space. He's from, of course, sunny Brisbane, or what we like to refer to it as Bris Vegas. So shout out to anyone who's on the stream that's hailing from Bris Vegas. And then we
Yeah, and
have,
Mike is really good as well as recording himself while driving. FYI.
absolutely, he's got about 50 cams in his car or something like that. No idea why, but it makes for some pretty cool videos. And then we've got our two Melbourne-based AWS heroes. So Augustin Nalwan, he is head of AI and ML at Car Sales, and is obviously a machine learning hero. If you haven't checked out some of his really cool learning projects, definitely go check out some of those videos. They're super inspirational. I cannot believe he's got the time to actually put those together. Super smart chap. Um, and then our OG, the original AWS ANZ hero, Dr. Pete Sparsky, should I say? He's from A Cloud Guru. He was one of the co-founders and founded Serverless Conf, and has just done a huge amount of really great work, written a few books on serverless and stuff like that. So just awesome to be able to be in the same program with him. It's been truly inspirational. So yeah, that's a bit of a flavor of the AWS heroes. And oh, we've got our Sydney.
No, the answer. So those who are paying attention, the answer to the quiz.
How many are there? Yes. So Mike Ramadi, he is from Cloud Conformity. Really, really cool Sydney-based, DevOps startup. That's a really cool company in the enterprise space. Dr. Dennis Bauer. I think everyone knows Dr. Dennis. She does amazing work at CSIRO, especially uh, COVID and genomic research. Has done some amazing work in the serverless space. She's a data hero. So definitely, if you haven't done so already, do check out one of her talks on COVID-19 and computational genomics. Ian Mackay, he's the you know, always posting super funny stuff, and also building out some really cool tools that you can help you out with in the DevOps space. So he's a community hero himself, and just always up to no good on Twitter or something like that. But, yeah,
Well,
he's
interesting story. Ian was on Twitter last night, and he had some feedback for some service teams. And as a hero, I think you cut through to service teams. So that feedback is already went to the service team. So I think that's a real advantage of the hero program to get that ability to give feedback to service teams.
Yeah, honestly, his some of his blog posts and tools that he's built have been super valuable for me as well. So, really big fan of the work that Ian does. And the guy on the far right,
Is
I
that
don't know who he is. Don't worry about him. I'm sure he's noticed me when I had combed my hair properly one day. Um, yeah, so I'm an AWS serverless hero, and yeah, Sydney based. So if you bump into me time, say hello.
Cool. So I was just going to ask the question that everybody wants to ask about heroes is the swag. There is myths of you get some swag as a hero. Is this true?
Absolutely. You get a whole bunch of really cool shirts. I was going to pull out my AWS IoT kit gizmo. So you get a whole bunch of really cool stuff in that regards. At the last year's reInvent, we couldn't obviously meet in person. So what they did for all of us heroes was they sent out an Oculus headset so
Cool.
that we could all meet together in virtual reality in a really cool world. And it was a great way to interact with the other heroes. So there's some really good benefits to be part of the hero program. Not to mention all of the you know product team interactions and stuff like that you get. And you get a few AWS credits while you're there as well, so you can play around with all the new services and get to learn all about them.
Cool, cool. And so, as this show is about Summit, this is the lead in. So, heroes were they were well involved in this year's Summit. Could you just give us a brief overview of how the heroes were actually involved in this year's AWS ANZ Summit?
Yeah, so the team at AWS here in ANZ reached out to us to ask us whether we could put a few talks together, some fun demos on some of the new services, and sort of come up with some interesting talks and demos around that. So yeah, we've got our own little track where you can sort of watch those videos on demand. I think hopefully you'll really enjoy them. I think they were a really good bunch of fun to put together. To be fair.
Cool. Very nice. Looking forward to watching them all again. I've seen them and they're awesome demos. In fact, one of yours was actually quite cool. Do you want to give a brief overview of your demo? Very cool.
Yeah, bit on the geeky side. It's a bit of a combination of IoT and location services. So Amazon Location Services, I believe it was announced at last year's reInvent. It allows you to do a bunch of sort of tracking and geofencing. And so me and my two little kids, we go for walks on the weekend, down by the river, going from one park to the next, um, and sometimes kind of getting them ready. It's a bit of a rush in the morning, so we forget things like turning off the lights and all the rest. And so, effectively, what I wanted to do is build something which could automatically detect when I'd left my home and turn off the lights for me. And so, with the Amazon Location Services, I drew a geofence around my house, and I had a little app, an open source app on my phone, which sent location payloads via MQTT to AWS IoT services, and then with EventBridge and a few other things, including SAM Local, which would interact with the Philips Hue bridge, within my network, and would turn off my lights as I exited the geofence location. So
Cool.
yeah, a bit
Very
long-lived,
cool.
good fun putting together.
Yep, yep. It sounds a lot of fun. So yeah, check out Peter's demo and all the heroes talks at this year's summit. So Peter, let's get into the nitty gritty and start about our survival tips for Summit 2021. So I will start. So the first thing that we'd recommend that you do about Summit is know the dates. The dates are very important, obviously, and so the dates for this year's summit are the 18th and 19th of May, and everything kicks off at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 8 a.m. in Perth and 12 p.m. over the ditch in New Zealand. So that was me doing some in my head time zone calculation. I hope it was correct. There's also an agenda that you can look at, which will give you all your timings as well as the dates. So some of these already nicely put in the chat. I noticed the agenda. Thank you, Tim Hill 2000, for posting that in the chat. So there's that agenda at a glance that you can use to make it a more seamless experience and not missing anything. The next tip is how much. So it's free. Summit is free. The only thing you're paying for is with your time. So as time is important, and in some cases, maybe not mine, very expensive. Be very pointed and targeted with your time when you're looking at Summit. So hopefully things like this and this little stream can help you target the talks in the parts of Summit that you want to see. So the next one, Peter, is why attend?
Yes, so I've said a few times about some of the networking opportunities and what I've gotten out of previous summits. I definitely highly recommend that's what you go ahead and look at doing, sort of making the most of those greater opportunities to meet some fascinating people. You can also come away with some really fresh ideas on how to solve problems. I'm always fascinated by some of the talks and the breakout sessions on like how I guess even some of the internal solutions architects at AWS are solving different problems, and they're a really great resource, a wealth of knowledge, because they're meeting with lots and lots of customers and learning about the challenges that they're facing. So that's a really cool thing to take a look at. You can also learn about areas you may not be familiar with. So say, for instance, if you're in the data analytics space, you might be interested in learning about a bit of machine learning or something of the like. So that's definitely a good tip. You can also go deeper into areas you're familiar with and find out new tools to help. So, perhaps if it's your first summit, you might be attending, say, 100 or 200 level sessions. And now that this is your second or third summit, you might want to go into those, 300 or 400 level sessions. Say, if data analytics is your jam, then, perhaps I think there's a 300 level Redshift session that, might be of interest to you.
Yep.
And then finally, learning from businesses and partners who have adopted cloud and how it's helped accelerate their business. So I think that's definitely a good one to take a look at, because they've been sort of walking this journey for several years, and well worth a chat.
Yeah, for sure. Great points there, Pete. So the next thing to know is who should attend. So this year, as I mentioned, Summit is spread over 2 days. So we have spread it over 2 days intentionally. So if you're new to the cloud or thinking about cloud adoption, then Tuesday the 18th of May. So that first day will give you a lot of sessions and introductory level sessions and intermediate sessions with hands-on labs of how to begin your journey to the cloud. And then if you're a more experienced user, then the Wednesday sessions are the ones you can target, where we'll dive deeper into more advanced and expert level sessions. And you'll hear more around best practices and how to increase your skill base and build your skills over that day. So that's how, again, if you're targeting your time, if you're adopting or new to cloud, then Tuesday is the place to really focus. Whereas if you want to go a bit deeper, dive deeper, learn best practice, then the Wednesday, the 19th, is the day for you. So what have we got next? The code of
Yes,
conduct.
that's right. And I think this is a really important one. Everyone's going to the AWS Summit to have a really good time and do a bunch of networking, learn some really great stuff. And so it's really important to recognize that we're all on different stages of our cloud learning journey, and really the big thing to note is that just to treat everyone sort of nicely as you would in real life. It's a professional setting. The TLDR is be nice to one another, but really use that to make the most of your opportunities to network and get ahead in your career and things like that. And so really do encourage you to go out and read the code of conduct and make sure that you can ensure that everyone else has a really good summit, and just watch out for your fellow attendees. And if anyone needs some help, and you're in a position to help, then definitely do that.
Yeah, cool. Great advice, Pete. So next we have registration. So why is registration important? So there's a number of reasons that you should register. I've already posted the link in the Twitch chat for registrations. And so once you register, you get access to all of the on-demand sessions that we will be doing over the 2 days. But not only that, when you connect live, you get live Q&A with all of the speakers. So although the talks themselves you can consume either live, so in real time, you can also consume them on demand. But when you register, you also be able to do Q&A with the speakers if you go and look at the live talks, which is pretty cool. And you can ask questions as you hear the talk. So you can ask interesting things to the speakers. You also, when you register, you get access to a cool tool called the Schedule Builder. And that allows you to go through all of the agenda and go through all of the things that we're offering. And you can actually build your schedule around that. So you'll get calendar notifications and entries. So you can build your schedule and not miss a thing that you're interested in. And so those reminders and calendar entries become really important. And then also you get access once you register to the other events that you can do. We're having a number of jams that you can take part in. We have a Deep Racer event also as part of Summit this year. And we also have hands-on labs and workshops that you can get access to once you register. So that's why registration is very important. And yeah, please follow the link and register. It should take you a couple of seconds. So, Peter.
Absolutely. Yes. Choosing
Choosing
live. You go.
choosing live versus on demand. Any tips there?
Absolutely. Well, there are some on-demand hero sessions that you should totally check out because they're awesome.
Totally.
Sorry, I nearly took out my headphones just then with my animated hand movements. But definitely watching live has a lot of benefits. I definitely recommend checking out the schedule builder because I was playing around with it last night and I saw, oh wow, there's a couple of sessions that are sort of all at the same time, and perhaps I'm just having to pick which one I want to watch at that particular time so I can do the live one-on-one chats um, with AWS and partners that are doing the breakout sessions there. And there's also RCS experts areas. So Yeah, so uh, there's lots of opportunities there to sort of engage with folks, and I'm sure, like on Twitter and other channels, there's going to be a lot of chatter. Watching things live, so it'll be a great way to engage with one another.
Yeah, cool. Good points. So I just wanted to just emphasize the stats for this year is Summit. So we've over 90 sessions. So these are the sessions over the multiple tracks that we have that you can engage on the day with the speakers through live Q&A. We also have lots of partner solutions. So if you're looking for particular solutions or companies that can help you adopt cloud or build cloud native applications or data platforms, are some of the partner solutions are the place to go. And then also we've got online labs and jams. So it's a jam-packed 2 days with lots of things going on. So just there are all the stats. Be aware, and hopefully this show is helping you to be targeted in your choice. So this is my favorite bit. Peter's tips. Peter's tips. Peter.
Yes. So race 5, number 8. No, joking.
How much?
All in, all in. No, jokes aside, it's very easy to get overwhelmed at a summit, whether it's in person or online. There's so much to choose from. As Derek mentioned, there's over 90 talks, so very difficult to get through all of that in 2 days. So definitely, it's a good idea to keep focused, pick a handful of services that you want to learn about, then pick a track that aligns with your current or future role, and perhaps sprinkle that with one or two of the sponsor talks. Definitely leverage the schedule builder. I think that's going to be a great way to ensure that you're watching things live. List out your sessions and then start adding them to your calendar once you've settled on which sessions you want to get to live. Remember to leave some gaps during the day to get some fresh air and go for a walk. 8 hours of Zoom each day is probably not the most healthy thing that you can do for yourself. So definitely make sure that you maybe grab a coffee while you're at it. And then lastly, once you have a plan in place, it might be worthwhile reaching out to your manager to ensure that you've got some dedicated time blocked out to look at those sessions, because these things can be very valuable to you and your career and your workplace. So I think most of them will be pretty happy to um, you know, allow that. So on the days of the summit, during the sessions, be sure to engage in the live chat, get to know folks. There, you know, focus on networking. It's a great way to make lasting connections and find some awesome job and business opportunities. That's half the fun of an AWS summit. I guess if all of that sounds a little bit too complicated and overwhelming, I think the biggest thing that you want to do is get along to the keynote each day, because they're always like super inspirational, and you can get some really great ideas from some truly incredible folks doing some cutting edge technology, from the enterprise right through to entrepreneurs building from the ground up. So really good stuff. Then there's some other things like the Deep Racer League. Is a really fun way to get hands on with machine learning and compete against other folks. I think now they've added 2 pro divisions. So like if you've been to a few previous summits and given it a whirl, now you can sort of do object avoidance for those keen on skillful navigation. So, and then the head-to-head race. So you're racing against a couple of other deep races. So that is pretty cool.
Cool. Very nice. Lots of great tips there, Peter. Thanks very much. So the next section is our top picks So top picks for sessions that you should check out if you're completely overwhelmed, as Peter said, with things to do and things to see. These are what we would see, what we are going to see during Summit. So we'll start with my 3 sessions. So the first session that I would choose to go see is Lucas, who is I think he's a developer now, or in New Zealand, and his session is around the fault injection simulator. So this is a new service that we released at reInvent last year, and I may also be in the Q&A during this session. And this is a really interesting service about how you can inject faults into your application that's deployed in the cloud, and how that application then deals with those faults. So it's a really great service, and Lucas, as always, does an awesome job of explaining it. So that's the first one that I would recommend. The second one is Julian's talk on building the Mac OS pipeline. So again, at reInvent, we introduced a new service about having Mac in the cloud. So Mac in the cloud is, if you're a mobile developer like myself, you'll understand that you always need to build iOS binaries using a Mac Mini that usually sits under your desk. So Lucas, sorry, Julian is going to show us how you can use Mac in the cloud, which is that now facility now exists in the AWS cloud, to build your build and deployment pipeline for those applications. So that's going to be an interesting talk as well. And then finally, Nelly's going to show us all how to do TDD with the CDK. So the CDK, or the Cloud Development Kit, is how we provision infrastructure. On AWS, it's one of those ways, using infrastructure as code. And TDD, test-driven development, is how we can make sure that the application or the CDK code that we're building is rigorous. So we build a test along with the code to assert that the code that we're creating is correct and suits the requirements that we want. So it's a cool talk by Nelly, really worth checking out as well. So that's my 3. What about you, Peter?
Yes, well, I did mention that I run a data engineering meetup, so anything to do with streaming analytics is pretty cool. So Siam and Sam, Siam's all over the streaming services at AWS, so I think that session's going to be well worth a watch. Rovan Omar, she's a senior technical account manager. Now, maybe Derek can explain what a TAM actually does, but Rovan's got a wealth of knowledge on cost optimization and how to succeed at it. So I think if that's your jam, if you're trying to save a few dollars on AWS, I think that's going to be a sensational session. What is just real quick, a TAM, Derek?
Yeah, so a technical account manager is in the support organization. So when you sign up for enterprise support as a customer, you are assigned a technical account manager as that single point for all of your support queries. But that role itself evolves into more of a, not only support, but influencing and helping your customer do the right thing on the platform. So it's a really pivotal role, the role of TAM.
Awesome. Yes. So definitely well worth, and she's a senior TAM, so she's got some really great experience with, I think, some of the bigger AWS customers. So well worth a watch. Jason Omaka, he's a senior solutions architect in the container space. He is pretty much Mr. Kubernetes or Mr. EKS. Just really, really knowledgeable in that space. Always doing some really cool blog posts and things like that. So I think if Kubernetes is your jam, you definitely don't want to miss that one out. And who's that chap down the bottom?
That guy. No. Yeah, don't
He's-
know. Black and white, it's hard to tell.
yeah. So AWS Amplify is just revolutionizing how you can build out sort of mobile and web applications, and I think Derek's got some incredible experience in that space, and yeah, I've personally really enjoyed AWS Amplify, using that with the CDK. But I think, Derek, your session sounds like it's going to be full of lots of really cool tips and tricks. So to help build out applications even faster, which is really amazing.
Like, thanks. There are lots of demos. It is demotastic. That's a word I'm
Amazing.
claiming. Thanks, Peter. So the last thing we want to talk about are the keynotes. So there are two keynotes. There's one on day one and one on day two. My particular highlight, or what I'll be watching, is the keynote on day two. Will have an Australian of the Year from 2018, Professor Michelle Simmons, who, if you don't know, Professor Simmons, she is a world-renowned quantum computing expert, and has done some very cool stuff around quantum computing. I think her atomic her team's atomic transistor is recognized as best of breed and almost perfect. So it'd be a really cool insight into the world of quantum computing, which, as everybody is acknowledging, is the next phase of how computers and how computing is going to develop. So I'm sure that's going to be an awesome insight. So I'm really looking forward to that. Pete, you're looking forward to any part of the keynote?
Yeah,
Notes?
yes, there's a couple of sessions that stand out. I've done a bit of work in financial services, so I'm really interested to hear about CBA and Matt Common, how they've sort of taken to the cloud. I think that'll be interesting from the perspective of just how well they've embraced the cloud, and some of these really deeply highly regulated environments can actually succeed in a really big way on the cloud, which is super fascinating. I think Peter DeSantis, when he talks about AWS's global infrastructure, just truly mind-boggling, isn't it? Those sessions, I think they're really good fun. And then, look, I'm a bit of a sports fanatic. So Kayo Sports, I think, Julian Ogren, I think that'll be interesting, just from, some of the challenges that live sport face in terms of, trying to push out that high 4K image quality at such high velocities out to streaming services and things like that. I think that'll be a fascinating talk as well. So I think there's plenty to go and see at this year's summit. There's some really fascinating, case studies and stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just conscious we are running over, but we're just going to keep going. I have a question from Astrid Liando. So the question from Astrid is, how different is the content of Summit across the different regions? So there is an America Summit going on. I think it's tonight or tomorrow. And there are then summits in ASEAN and the summits EMEA, so in Europe as well. So summits are completely different across the globe. So the content that is in this year's AWS ANZ Summit is all by local speakers. So it's very central and centered on ANZ. So what you'll see, all of the speakers, customers, and partners are part of the ANZ, Australia New Zealand community for AWS. So yeah, that's absolutely unique to Summit, and that's why we have ones that go across the globe, because every region has different needs and different wants different things from the AWS cloud. So that's why we do what we do. But great question, Astrid. Thanks very much.
Absolutely.
So I think we're just going to finish off today. So we did have a second quiz. So those of you who have stuck around, this is the second quiz. So how many sessions are there at this year's summit? There's a tip. You don't have to be precise. Give me the approximate answer, and we'll reach out to you over Twitch and sort out your $100 USD voucher. So quick fingers on the buttons, off you go. I'd just like to just finish off this stream by thanking Peter. How do you think it's gone today, Peter?
Yeah, it was just really good. I think, I mentioned on our Slack channel before that, this is we've put together the Summit Survival Guide that I wish I had a few years ago coming into the Summit. I think hopefully everyone's gotten a great bunch of value out of it. It's really great, chatting with you about our top picks and having a think about how to get the most out of the Summit. So, yeah, now I'm just super pumped for it. I can't wait for it to start and sort of get into it and especially have a look at some of these keynotes. I think they're going to be amazing. It's really good fun.
Yeah, awesome time. I had a good time doing this with you, Peter. It's been a lot of fun, and it's always good to catch up and talk about technology and things that we're both very passionate about. So thanks for coming along, and thanks for having me. Actually, so. Yeah, everybody, Astrid won the quiz. She was, sorry, they were very fast and got the right answer. So it's 90 plus sessions at this year's summit. So thanks everybody who stuck around, listened to the guide. I'm sure you'll see us both around for future events. And thanks for listening. And we'll see you all again next time. Bye.
See ya. Bye.